internally. So my name is Mr. Soderbeck. I'm the director of the College and Career Center here at Vista High School, and this is Career Weeks, where we're exploring different careers. And today I have Jacob Shiba. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
You are, yeah, Jacob Shiba.
And he's from Palomar College. And he's going to tell you all about careers. And I guess the easiest way to explain it is water resources and water management.
Yeah, really anything to do with water. That's the foundation, if you will.
Okay.
All right. Am I good to take it over?
You are good to go.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. I have a little PowerPoint here. Can we see it? Give me some thumbs up. Let me know if you can see that. All right.
We can see it.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right. So welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here today. As Stephen mentioned, my name is Jacob Shiba. I'm an assistant professor in water technology just down the street from you all here at Palomar College. So I'm going to be talking to you today kind of about my program, about a program you could potentially join coming to Palomar College, and really what our program is about and what the purpose of that is. So I kind of wanted to, using the, I'd love for you all to use the chat or the reactions, if you will. I'm going to have some questions throughout. So I'd love for you to give me some thumbs up, some yeses, some nos, if you could, so I can kind of just see where we're all at. So to start us out, I want to know if anyone in here is do you have science interests? Are we interested in chemistry, biology, any of the other natural sciences? Okay, seeing a little bit. Okay, okay. I got some greens, some yeses. Okay, good. What about, is anybody college bound? Anyone in here like, no, they're going to college, that's what they're doing?
Should be like everybody.
Okay, all right. Got some thumbs up, some greens. Okay, I'll take it. What about workforce bound? Does anyone want to go straight out into the workforce, start making money right away? Because that's an option too, right? Okay, I got a couple. Now, how many of you are in the no idea boat? This was the boat I was in when I was in your shoes. Anybody have no idea what they want to do, where they want to go, what they want to be when they grow up?
I have no idea.
Okay. I see some of that. You know, I usually tell students I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up, right? We're still figuring it out day by day. Okay, so good. So we got a mix, right? And so the reason I ask that is because in the career path I'm going to talk about, any of these interests, any of these paths are all kind of ways you can make it into what I'm going to call the water industry as a whole. Okay, so I want to ask you guys some more questions. So I want to talk about water, okay? So how many of you have drinking water today? Who drank water today? Hopefully everybody. Okay, you got some yeses, some nos, some thumbs up. Okay, good, right? We all drink water today, hopefully. If you haven't drinking water today, go grab yourself a glass of water. Make sure you drink some because you're dehydrated. Okay, so we all drink water today. What about took a shower? Hopefully we washed our hands. Yep. Okay, good. I see a lot of hands raised. Good. I'm not seeing any no's, so that's a good thing too, right? Hopefully we've all washed our hands here. What about who flushed the toilet? Did you flush the toilet today? Anybody? Hopefully. Yeah. Okay. Good. This is an active group. I like this. Very busy. Okay. And then lastly here, who saw grass or just other plants really anywhere around, whether it's your front yard, your backyard, on the street, on campus? Right, we all kind of saw plants, right? And so most of those plants are requiring us to water those plants with irrigation, right? So the point of this slide is really all about water, right? Water is all around us. We use it every day in every aspect of our life. And it's essential, right? So hold on to that in the back of your mind. Okay, water is essential. It's everywhere. We use it for everything. So where does that water come from? Right? It comes from your sink. Let's just say you're at home, right? You turn the sink on, water just magically comes out. But where does water come from there, right? It comes from somewhere else. So some of you on that image on the left, we refer to that as a hose bib. The water, kind of comes into that hose bib and then goes into your house, right? And from there, it feeds your whole house. Now, the image on the right shows a water meter, right? So water actually comes through that water meter before it goes onto your property and into your house, your apartment, your condo, your school, whatever it may be, right? So keep that in mind, right? So water is coming from somewhere to get to wherever you are, right? No matter where you're using water, it's got to come from somewhere. Now, on the other side of that, oftentimes we use water, right? And so if we wash our hands in the sink, if we do a load of laundry, after we take a shower, after we flush the toilet, right? We use all this water. That water then goes somewhere, right? Now, the water has to be dealt with because there is no poop fairy, okay? And I say that jokingly. This is an awesome sign I saw, but all that waste goes down, and oftentimes we don't think about it. Sometimes we just kind of think, yeah, just there's a poop fairy who deals with all that, and I don't have to deal with that, right? But in reality, there is a whole team dedicated to dealing with our what we call wastewater, right? Our used water, right? So that's another side of that. So water's coming into wherever we're using it, and water's leaving. Now, there is a whole team of people who deal with the clean drinking water coming into your house, making sure it arrives, making sure it's safe to drink. And there's a whole team of people dealing with that wastewater that as it leaves your house, we make sure that it travels away from your house, gets to what we call a wastewater treatment plant, where that water can then be treated safely. So that water can be treated, clean, filtered, and then reused for other purposes such as irrigation, right? Likely all your big fields at your school are irrigated with what we call recycled water, right? So there are lots of different people, thousands and thousands of people across just the state of California dealing with making sure our clean water comes in and our dirty water leaves and that it gets taken care of. And so what this map is, hopefully you kind of recognize it. It's a map of San Diego County. And so broken up into these different colors shows all the different water agencies, all the different organizations that are out there. And hopefully you can pick out on the map kind of where you live, where your school is, where you go visit the park you're at. Just know that no matter where you go in San Diego, there is an organization there full of a team of people dedicated to making sure safe drinking water makes it to your home, your business, your apartment, and then making sure that dirty water gets carried away. Right? So there are a lot of different organizations in the county dedicated to that. Now, if we zoom out a little bit more, there are even more organizations all across Southern California, right? Stretching all the way down to the border of Mexico, stretching all the way up through LA County, for example, right? And so all across Southern California, there are thousands of people dedicated to making sure we get safe, clean drinking water and making sure our wastewater gets taken away from where we are and gets treated safely. And so when we look at the entire state, right, we're back way out now, all across the state, there are water agencies doing the same thing with the same goal. No matter where you go in the state, making sure that we get clean and safe drinking water coming into our homes and making sure that dirty, used water is taken away and treated properly. So what I want you to start to think about as you decide, you're thinking about career paths and where you want to go, you also want to think about maybe some of you want to move. Does anyone want to move out of state or out of country? Anyone have an interest in that, going somewhere else outside of California? I see some yeses. Okay. I'm seeing some hands. So, when you think about your career path, you also want to think about, can that career path take you somewhere else? Now, the thing with water and wastewater is no matter where you go in the world, we are always going to want safe, clean drinking water. And we are always going to want the dirty water to be taken away and treated properly. So a career path in the water industry is one that you can take to any state, any country, any place in the world. And it is absolutely essential to human life. It's essential for us, for our safety, but also for any other type of economic development. It's all focused and centered around water and sanitation. So I want you to kind of keep that in mind. So what I want to go into, as we look at this map of California, I want to talk just a little bit about us from a, California view. And it's really focused on where we get our water, right? If you remember, I showed you that sink, right? Where does our water come from? Well, it comes from the sink. Turn the sink on, clean water comes out. Well, from there, though, it comes from your water agency, your water company. Maybe it's Vista Irrigation District, right? Maybe you live somewhere else. Maybe you're the city of Oceanside. No matter where that water is coming from, it's coming from a water agency. Well, they had to get that water from somewhere. And so a lot of our water here in San Diego County actually comes from really far away. So some of that water comes from all the way up north in Northern California. Now, if you can see my cursor here on the screen, that little kind of squiggly X right there, that's a lake called Lake Oroville. Now, a lot of our drinking water originates from there, and it travels over 600 miles from Lake Oroville all the way down across the entire state to get to us down here in San Diego County. Right, so our water comes from really far away. Now, another big part of our water also comes from the Colorado River, right? So we're talking way over past outside of California, and that water travels all the way across the desert to then make its way to us down here in Southern California. And some of our water is here locally. It comes from the ocean water that's desalinated. Some of it comes from lakes and reservoirs and even a little bit of groundwater. So our water kind of comes from all over the place. But I want to kind of use that as a focal point of the water that comes from far away. We got to bring that hundreds of miles to get to us here so we can use it to drink, to water our lawns, to do laundry, to wash our hands, right? For all the essential uses. So why should we care? Why do we care about the people that are doing this, and maybe a career path for us in being part of the team that's helping to deliver this safe, clean drinking water and deal with our used water and treat it and clean it and make sure it's reused? Well, who wants to make money? Let me see a thumbs up or a yes or a show of hands. Raise our hand, right? Does anyone want to make money? Okay. So if that's something you want to do, then a career path in water is a great way to do that. Okay. There are no positions at any water agencies in San Diego County that start less than $20 an hour, no matter what position you jump into and you start into. And if you decide to become what we call an operator, which I'm going to discuss in a second, most operators within the first couple of years are making $100,000 a year. So I know, right? Why are we teaching? We need to all become operators. So money is a big reason why, right? What about benefits? Does anybody do we know what I'm talking about when I say benefits? Yes, kind of no. It's the healthcare. It's your eye, right? It's your dentist. It is your retirement, right? These are all benefits. So careers at water agencies have really good benefits. That's something that's really important, especially if you want to have a family and you want to have kids and you want to be able to take care of them and provide for them, right? So benefits are huge. Now, stability is something that's really important when you are picking a career path. So how many of you, again, raise your hand or say yes. How many of you remember these fidget spinners on the screen here? You guys remember these? You see, they were everywhere, right? A couple of years ago, all over the place. Now, are they still a thing? Are fidget spinners still a thing? Is everyone still about them? Do you still buy them everywhere? Right? No, right? No, not really. They're not as popular as they were, right? So if you decided, okay, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, and I'm gonna go into the business of fidget spinners. And that's when I'm gonna invest all my time and all my money into fidget spinners. Well, 4 years ago, you were doing great, right? Everyone was buying them. People are spinning them everywhere. But look now, you invested all that time and all that money. 4 years later, your business is done for, right? Your business probably went under. You have a whole bunch of fidget spinners you couldn't sell. You've moved back into your parents' basement, and that's where you're living. Right. Now, if you're happy in your parents' basement, that's another story. But going into the business of fidget spinners wasn't something that's stable. Okay. And so what I want you to think about, whether you're thinking about a career path that I'm guiding you toward, or you're thinking about any career path, is you want to go into something that's always going to be there. You want to go into a career path, there's always going to be a demand and there's always going to be a need. So I want you to sit back and I want you to think, is there any point in your life where you're not going to want to have fresh, clean drinking water? Is there any point in your life where you're not going to want to take a shower? Is there any point in your life where you're going to want to have to deal with your own toilet waste. Is there any point in your life where any of that applies? Probably and hopefully not. Right. So I want you to think about that in your career path, that we are always going to need water. We are always going to need sanitation and sewer services, no matter where you go and no matter what's happening in the world. So a career path in the water industry is something that's stable, something that's always going to be there. Now, a career path in water can also be very exciting. I'm going to show you a whole bunch of different photos of all the different types of careers you can have. And so there are many different positions that are really exciting, that things change day to day. Sometimes you're in the office, sometimes you're out in the field, sometimes you're up 100 feet in the air, and sometimes you're in a ditch that's 50 feet below the ground, right? So a career in water can be very exciting, right? Now, a career in water can also be very rewarding, right? When I talk about the water industry, there are all sorts of different types of careers. You could work for Vista Irrigation District down the street, making sure clean water gets to everyone in your area. But you could also have a career in the water industry, building drinking water wells in, say, Africa, right? And so you're working within the water industry, but what you're doing in Africa, for example, is you are helping to bring a fresh source of drinking water to a village, to a town, to people who've never had that before. It's a way to save lives. It's a way to change lives for future generations, right? So there are many types of things you can do in the water industry that can be very rewarding. Another thing about the water industry, it's constantly changing, right? We are constantly evolving as technology changes, as we face new problems. Climate change is a huge thing the water industry faces, because climate change is changing our weather patterns. So it changes the snow, it changes the rain, it changes our water, which we as a water agency really, really care about, is where's that water coming from and how much do we have to supply to our people? So that constant change, those constant challenges, allows for really constant education, constant learning, and constantly growing in your career path or in your field, right? So that is why you should care, okay? Is anyone feeling like, was that a good pep talk? Give me some thumbs up or some yeses and nos. How are we feeling? Okay, all right, I'll take it. And be honest with me here, that's okay too. If you're like, it's not for me, that's totally cool. Now, a career in water can have tons of different career paths. Okay, you can be an engineer and work in the water industry. You can work in finance, right? You can work in human resources, for example, right? You can work in law, customer service. Now, you can be in customer service for Amazon, for AT&T, or you can be in customer service for a water agency, right? So it's kind of one thing to think about, is there a lot of different career paths within the realm of the water industry, in an industry that's stable, that's good pay, that provides long-term benefits and long-term stability, right? And it's estimated that in just California alone, there are over 6,000 job openings a year throughout California in the water industry, in all these different fields and areas that we talked about, right? So it's a growing field. It's a field that demand is big. And right now, there are a lot of people retiring. So there are a lot of openings in this field, in this career path. So this is something I recommend, of course, to pursue. So I want to go over kind of just a whole bunch of cool photos of like, what can we do? What does all this mean? Now, I mentioned a lot of our water comes from Northern California. So that water comes from Lake Oroville. Some of you may have heard of it. Maybe you've even been to it, right? So it's in Northern California, about 2 miles kind of northeast of Sacramento. So a lot of our drinking water starts here. Now, Lake Oroville, if you see that dam there, is the tallest dam in the United States. It's the second largest drinking water reservoir in the state as well, right? So if you think about, a whole team of engineers designed this dam, and a whole team of people have built this dam and now maintain the infrastructure of the dam. There's a hydropower plant on there, so there's all sorts of engineers involved with that. And there's a whole nother team that manages the water quality, because that lake water is going to become our drinking water some 2-3 weeks later. Right? So a lot of our water started in Lake Oroville, but we have to bring that water, right? We have to distribute that water hundreds of miles, okay? So if you've noticed, some of you may have noticed as you're driving up the 5 freeway, maybe heading to Northern California, you've noticed something that looks like that. Kind of looks like a concrete river. right? And that is, in fact, the California Aqueduct. And it's a huge system of hundreds of miles of open trenches, basically, open canals and pipes that bring our water hundreds of miles away. So there's a whole team of people who work on this distribution system to move that water from Lake Oroville through these canals to eventually get to us down here in Southern California, where that water makes its way to what we call a water treatment plant. Now, water treatment operators, those are people who like to work with their hands. You're mostly outside. You're working on pumps and motors, and you're reading gauges. You're doing a little bit of chemistry. You're doing a little bit of biology. You're working on computers to control that system, right? So there's a whole different side at the water treatment side. But as I mentioned, there's a whole bunch of pipes distributing that water too. So there's a whole construction team, a whole maintenance team out there who work with their hands to make sure that the pipes are laid, that are there in the ground, that are safe, that are operating properly to move our water from all the different places. Vallecito's Water District serves us here in San Marcos. Vallecito's Water District alone has hundreds of miles of water pipe below the ground just in our area to move water from where it's coming from to get to our homes and businesses. So there's all sorts of jobs in working with how we distribute that water. How many of you, show of hands, have seen tanks like this on the top of a hill? Anybody ever seen a tank like that? Right, so when you see those tanks, I see a lot of people have seen them, that is your drinking water. I encourage you at your house to look around on the hills around you and find your nearest tank, because likely that is where your drinking water is coming from, as its way, making its way from that tank through a whole bunch of pipes to your house. Right, so if you think about it, there is a whole team of people making sure there's enough water in that tank so that that water can then be distributed through the hundreds of miles of pipes. It goes through pumps, it goes through motors to get to your house. So a whole team of people have had to build that infrastructure and are now operating that infrastructure in water distribution to make sure you still get water every time you turn on your tap, every time you turn on your sink. Now, when I talk about, let's go back here. When I talk about the design, does anyone in here want to be an engineer? Has anyone ever thought about going into engineering at all? Okay, I see a couple of hands. Yes, I see a couple of yeses. So, you know, behind every piece of infrastructure, whether it's the tank I showed you, whether it's the pipes, whether it's the dam, there's a whole team of engineers designing our water infrastructure, designing the pumps, the dams, the motors, designing the reservoirs. So you can go into engineering and be a part of designing our water infrastructure as well. Now, there's also a whole maintenance side of things. So if you're good with your hands, if you like to work on cars, if you like a challenge, if you grew up building connects, for example, there is a whole team of people in water agencies who work on pumps and motors, huge pumps and motors all day long, and making sure that they're functioning properly so that we can move water from A to B. Now, there's a whole crew out there working in the streets. You probably see them sometimes. If we have a busted fire hydrant, if we have a leak coming out of the ground, there's a whole team, a whole street crew team who are out there with the bulldozers, with tractors. They're out there digging trenches. They're out laying pipe. They're doing traffic control. So there's a whole team out there dedicated if you're looking to be hands-on and you want to be working outside. And these are a lot of entry-level positions working on the street crew side of the water industry. Now, on the wastewater side, right, we talked about how we flush our toilets and that water just leaves. Well, there's a whole team of people working in what we call collections. And they basically make sure that that sewer system, right, which if you remember, that's where the Ninja Turtles live, right, with Splinter, down in the sewers. There's a whole team making sure that the toilet water you flush leaves your house, makes its way through the sewer system and gets to a treatment plant. So making sure that that sewage leaves and gets transported is essential for the health and the safety of us, of our population. Right? If our sewer system wasn't working, we'd flush the toilet and it wouldn't go anywhere. And you would have to deal with that in your home, right? Which we wouldn't want to do. So there's that collection side. Now, I mentioned that water gets to a wastewater treatment plant. Now, some of you may have even had the opportunity to tour a wastewater treatment plant, but this is basically where we take that dirty, gross used water And we use a whole bunch of science, a whole bunch of chemistry and biology and physics to treat, clean that water to be able to reuse that water for other purposes, like irrigation, for example. Right? So that's a whole nother side of the wastewater side as opposed to the water side. Now, if you're into chemistry and biology and you want to work in a lab, there's a whole bunch of different jobs making sure that our water is safe and clean to drink, right? Even every water agency you work for does tens of thousands of water quality tests a year to make sure your water is safe and clean to drink. Right? So there's a whole team dedicated to that. Now, there's another side of it. If you want to work with people, you want to work in water education, you want to work helping people save water, there's a whole other side of this field, working in water conservation and working in education, working in outreach. There's also the whole office side of things. As I mentioned, you can be in customer service for Amazon. You could also work in customer service for a water agency, right? So there is, if you're really good with numbers and you're good with math and you want to kind of go into business, there's a whole business side in the water agency where you can work with customers, where you can work on accounting and you work on billing and purchasing. So there's a whole nother side of the industry that works in the office setting, but works for a water agency, all making good money in a stable job with great benefits. Now, there's also the whole nother information technology side, the IT side, right? We control every wastewater treatment plant from a computer. We control every water treatment plant from a computer so that we can look at our entire system and we can control all of it from a computer, but we have to make sure that these computers are working properly, that everything is safe from a cybersecurity standpoint. So there's a whole team of people on the information technology side making sure our water is safe to drink and it gets to us, and making sure the wastewater leaves and is treated properly. Okay, so I want to kind of move from this whole idea of water and wastewater and how it relates to myself and how it relates to Palomar College. So hopefully most of us, who's heard of Palomar College here? Anyone? Raise your hand. Yes, give me some yeses, some nos. How are we doing? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of hands up. Good, good, good. We're lining up. Okay, so most of us, for those of us who maybe haven't, I'll just kind of highlight, right? So Palomar College is a local community college here. It's a 2-year community college. The main campus is located in San Marcos, right? Kind of right down the street from where you are in Vista. We've got about 30,000 full-time and part-time students. So it's a pretty big campus. Really, when you come onto Palomar campus in San Marcos, it feels a lot like a university because it's so large. It's got that kind of university feel to it. Now, to California residents, community college is very inexpensive, right? It's $46 a unit. So if you think of it like that, it's, you know, less than $140 a class per semester. So it's a very affordable way for you to get those first 2 years of college under your belt. Palomar College has over 200 different kind of degrees and certification programs and different types of things like that. You can use Palomar College to complete the first 2 years of your bachelor's degree, if that's the direction you want to go. You know, and you can also, you know, take all different types of classes throughout your career and throughout your life for that kind of lifelong learning for those kind of into that. Now, within Palomar College, within those 200 different degrees, I want to talk, you know, very briefly about my program, which is the water technology program. Right. So every time we use water, the sink, the shower, anything like that, the toilet, our sprinklers, there are operators making sure that drinking water, one, making sure it gets to our house, right? We have to make sure it gets there, but we also have to make sure the water that gets there is safe to drink, right? So it's really, really important. So there's a whole team dedicated to that, right? And so our program is designed to train the next generation, the next wave of operators, right? Who are going to have a job in making sure that they are able to provide really what's our most precious resource, and that is water, right? So a career in the water industry, right? The careers that we are training you for, again, stability, good pay, benefits, something that can be exciting, right? And there are all sorts of different places you can work, whether it's your, you know, your water utilities, like your Vista Irrigation District, but there are also private companies. You could work for the state of California. You could work for consulting firms, environmental consulting firms. You can work for breweries, right? Stone Brewery, for example, has its own little wastewater treatment plant on site, right? So you can go in all different types of career paths, but focused on the water industry, right? This is an example of water agencies here in Northern California that you can make anywhere from $50,000 to almost $150,000 without a four-year degree. This is with a certificate in water technology or an associate in water technology. And if you were to go on beyond and get a bachelor's degree or master's degree, you know, working for these agencies as you work your way up, you can be making $200,000 and $250,000 a year, depending on the type of position that you go into. Palomar College also has an invaluable internship program with the San Diego County Water Authority, where you get to tour different agencies. You get to work hands-on with these different agencies for 33 weeks throughout the semester if you're a college student. We have tons of different lab classes, hands-on classes, where you're working with different types of different instruments, and you're measuring pressure, and you're testing pH, and you're doing a lot of hands-on things, really working to get you into the water industry, to get your different certifications that are involved in your education that gets you there. So for the sake of time, I know we're running low. We want to have some questions. We have a ton of great classes that start on fall 2021. So I would encourage you, anyone who's thinking about it, please reach out to me. Look at our page. We also have an Instagram at Palomar Water Tech. So with that, I know we have a couple minutes just left, so I want to open it up for any questions.
Go ahead and throw them in the chat, or just open your mic up. Don't be shy.
So I see someone's asking desal plant, Carlsbad. So desal plant Poseidon is actually run by a private company, but that is still within the water realm, right? The water industry, those pulling salt water from the ocean, pulling all the salt out and bringing it up so that we can then drink that water. Yeah, that's a whole nother side of where we get our water from, is also from ocean desalination. Anybody else?
Can you go back to the slide before the what is water technology? Because I have to do a summary, and I wanted those points.
What is this one right here?
The one before it. Yes.
Okay. You got it. And all this information is available on our website. So if you go to palomar.edu, you can find all that. If you search water technology, you can get to our page. Now, if you're not interested in a lifelong stable career, and you don't want good benefits, and you don't want to make good money, do not pursue water industry. Okay, that's my biggest advice to you all.
All right.
Any other questions, comments?
Yeah, we've got another minute or so if anybody else has a question.
Oh, okay. Now, Jacob, what did you say that? Which area are you in? What do you teach exactly?
So I teach the water technology program, and then we just have a whole bunch of classes dedicated to training our students to become those operators, running our water distribution systems, our water treatment plants, working in the field, working in the office, kind of the whole gamut of that side.
So when you weren't teaching, what were you doing before?
So I worked for two different water agencies prior to working full-time here at Palomar College. I worked in water efficiency, and I worked in public affairs.
And so did what you studied in college lead to that?
So I studied environmental science in college, focusing on soil and water science, which led me to kind of the water side of things, which led me to the water industry, which led me to teaching about the water industry.
Tomorrow, I will play.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Shiba, thank you so much for being with us today. We're all going to have to move to the next class, but I definitely will be posting the video and your contact information and the information about Palomar. But thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Glad to be here. Everyone have a good day.
Yep.
Yes,
Take
thank
care,
you,
guys.
Jacob. Thank you.
Thank you.